Hi guys, my name's Emma and let's talk spooky stuff. People are calling this new film one of the scariest films they've seen. Apparently it's making people turn off their Netflix and run. Who's doing that? I don't know. But a lot of people are comparing it to The Conjuring. I am talking about, you can see the title, Veronica from 2017. I do want to keep in mind that there's two Spanish films on my Netflix. I'm not sure if it's the same where you are, but it is the poster that is this, just so you get the right one, because I think there might be some confusion with that. You guys know I'm a foreign film fanatic, and I'm really into Spanish horror. I love Spanish horror, so it was all about this. It's set in Madrid. It has religious, satanic vibes, has got to do with a seance, so I'm all for it. But unfortunately for me, I feel like this film had some major flaws. Let's start off by saying that this film is based on true events, and I think that's the only thing that makes it really scary. The story follows a young girl when she decides to conduct a seance with two schoolmates, and she does this during a solar eclipse. Her aim of the seance is to reconnect with her father, and in doing so, she lets something else in. Yep, and you heard me, it is the same age-old story. There's nothing really new about this one, apart from the fact it is based on a true story, which I think definitely makes it scarier. And of course, it's Spanish, so it's great to see a different take on a different culture with this kind of theme. But I felt like there was parts which made it super scary because it was more of the unknown. I really like in foreign horror that they kind of take different twists than Hollywood would do. And I did feel like in this film, there were some aspects of the haunting that really shook me, at a lack of a better word. I'm talking about parts where she's having kind of seizures in odd places, or just something a little bit different is happening than the usual, you put something here and it moved. But the problem is that did also happen. So what I'm trying to say is it did have both elements. It had something that was a little bit different and unique just to this story, Veronica, in terms of the haunting, but then it also had these really Hollywood watered down situations where you've seen it 100 times before. So you're kind of mixing unpredictability with predictability. Before I get on to what I actually really liked about the film, I do want to talk about really quickly the special effects, because I know a lot of people will have problems with this. This film is full of special effects and like really full-on CGI, and I felt like the sinister vibe in this film really was watered down again, and I felt like they were doing well at creating suspense without featuring these scenes where the special effects just completely took over, and I just wasn't a fan of it. It really took me out of the moment. It really made me think of other horror movies that have done the exact same thing. You know, hands holding down a body in a bed. It's not anything we haven't seen before, and I was just not a huge fan of it. But I will say the last peak moment where the special effects did come in, I thought was done really nicely and was really chilling. I wish that all of the other stuff was kind of scrubbed out, and then that way they could lead into that and really build up to that moment. But because there was so many special effects trickled throughout the whole film, it just really killed the vibe for me, and it was almost too in your face. But let's get on to some stuff that I really loved about this film. This film features a lot of child actors. The main character, she has a brother and two sisters, and they are the most adorable children, first off, and they can really act. I was completely blown away by their performances. It's really hard, obviously, you don't ever work with animals and children, that's showbiz. But these kids were amazing, and I was really interested to understand why they casted so many children. They could have easily got away with not doing that, so I was really impressed by that. But also the main actress, this is her first feature film, and I think she did amazing. I think she was flawless, and she had to work with a lot of special effects, as I've said a billion times in this review, so I was just completely floored by her performance, and I think she is amazing. Let's get back onto the negative. I want to talk about a couple of techniques in the film that I wasn't really sure about. The music was very odd. I know that the same band who she listens to in headphones, she is wearing the t-shirt off. She has a couple of posters in her room. I'm pretty sure it was like a shout out to this band. I hope it's a real band, because that is like prime promo. But other than this music, there was only one kind of instrumental track played at the very start, And that I found it was a little bit weird, but after that it completely switched up angles and went on to complete silence, and I really preferred that with the storyline. I thought it worked really well, and it wasn't just too theatrical and too full on. It was a bit more realistic with that. Another thing I felt was really weird at the start was the camera movement. I felt like the camera movement was almost like soap opera, daytime TV at the very start. They had this moment where there's this wide of this hall and the girls are in it, and then it kind of cuts into a mid shot, and it was just very strange for a horror movie. Normally in horror movies they really pick their angles, especially for like creating a, you know, scary moment and really leading into it. And I felt like I was almost pulled out and I was like, is this made for TV? And the last thing, I guess this is more of a storytelling technique, but the symbolism in the film I felt was really put in your face. And the fact that they did flashbacks, if a film has to do flashbacks or, you know, use text constantly other than saying like the date and time, it just seems a bit forced. And I felt like the symbolism, it was cute, but it would have been better if they just like laid off a little bit and made the audience appear like they have a brain, because I felt like, you know, it was just flashing in your face, fading in and out, and reminding you, just remember that. All in all, I can understand why people are surprised about this film. I guess they didn't see something like this coming out of Madrid anytime soon. I'm really happy to see more of these foreign horrors on Netflix, so bravo to that. I applaud that. But for this one, it's not really one that I would rewatch. It has too much special effects in it, and I felt like this sinister tone was really drowned out, watered down. I would have loved it to be more subtle, kind of like The Exorcism of Emily Rose. I think that's one of the perfect kind of possession, demonic, religious type tones in a film. I love that movie. It scares me to the but with this film, I just felt like it was just really watered down, but then also really in your face, trying to prove a point. And at the end, I didn't even care. But let's talk really quickly about the story that it is based on, because I think that that is way more interesting and really fucked up. During Veronica, you do see a guy on a motorbike talking to two girls. This is actually directly referencing the original story, which is about three girls who conducted a seance in their school, and they were trying to contact one of the girls' dead boyfriends who died in a motorcycle accident. So that was meant to reference that in the film. But in real life, the story is a teacher came in, broke the board, smashed the glass that they were using on the Ouija board. Then of course, because they could not say goodbye to the spirits properly, apparently that's when the possession, you know, the demonic presence started to appear. The girls suffered from hallucinations and seizures, and then in the end they did call the police, and when the police entered the property, which you see the call in the movie, apparently some of the cops had to leave because it was just full on nausea. They couldn't see, their vision was blurred. But apparently in the statement they said there was crucifixes like flying around. It was pretty insane. I would recommend really looking into that case, because I just looked up her photo and it freaked me out. I hope you're freaked out too now. I'm gonna give this one a 5 out of 10. I feel like I keep doing this. I'm in like a lull at the moment with horror, I feel like. I'm gonna give it a scare score of a 4 out of 10, and I'm gonna give it an originality score of a 4 out of 10. I think that some of you guys would really like this film, but it just wasn't for me. Nothing wrong with the film itself. I think it really did have some good elements in there, and also watch out for the puberty element, because that always comes out with, like, you know, possession, paranormal. I love when that comes into play. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys very soon. Stay spooky.